Welcome back, and in this section I'm just going to talk a bit about how we exported to Mudbox like the previous tutorial. And you might get an error, especially if you're doing some eyes, where in the pupils you get maybe an error that there's too many vertices joining or together in the same point, like in the poles here. You can just ignore that, but you can see one thing I did here is I renamed my eyes outer and left inner so that they're parented properly. But another thing I did, and if I just turn off the inner eye by going Control H and selecting this outer eye, let me just turn the head off, you can see that where this was all verging as triangles, I went into my edge and I selected, or marquee selected, every other edge and hit delete. And when I did that, that deleted these edges, which now made, instead of coming to triangles, quads. And I can just quickly, if you don't see how that's a quad, you can see if I pull that out. Oops, let me just select both here for you. If I drag and pull that out, now I can see that it's a four-sided polygon. A real simple and easy trick to do that. You're going to get an error sometimes in Mudbox because of this. It doesn't like that it's merged into one point, but in the eyes we're not modeling or sculpting these eyes, so it's not going to matter. Turn that head back on. Let me select this and turn that back on. Just minimize this. And now I'm going to select the head and shift select each eye. And just resend this to a new Mudbox scene. So send to Mudbox, send as a new scene. I'm getting a little bit of an error here. It doesn't like how the UVs are mapped in the eye. That's fine. And it's telling me that these degenerated faces, that it's coming together, too many edges are coming together at the same point. Just ignore that and just say keep this mesh, or keep all. And now it should be fine. Now you can see when I kind of came in here, this head looks really small. And if you're getting that, it's probably, and you're going to get better painting and results, sculpting results, if you just go back and scale everything up. So I don't have to close this down. I'm just going to go back into Maya. I'm going to select the head here, and I'm just going to go modify, freeze transformations, select this outer eye, and just hit G, which is perform the last. It's a hotkey for execute the last command, which was freeze transformation. So you can see everything zeroes out, and the scale becomes 1. There. So now everything's scaled up. I can shift select my objects and take that scale up to 10. I can save this. Go ahead and freeze the transformations again. Select everything and just say down in my lower right here, it's connected to Mudbox. I can just say update, keep all, and now I'm getting a much better result here. Well, my eyes, I just need to move back into place, and this kind of gives me an opportunity to talk a little bit about the Mudbox interface. By default, when you open up Mudbox, you're going to be in layer mode, and layer just allows us or shows us that we're either sculpting or painting. And in this kind of attribute list or channel box list, like in Maya, I can click on my object list and it lists everything that's in my scene, just like our outliner window. And what I can see is that I have my left eye and right inner and outer eye, and I can select those and move them into place. And I can do that down the bottom here on our horizontal toolbar. I have select move tools. I could just translate these forward, but I don't want to do that because Mudbox is not really meant to do a lot of this kind of motion. These simple moves are fine, but I'd rather just kind of go back into Maya and do it in Maya. So let me just undo this. And I'm going to go and turn my image planes back on. Oh, I have to scale them back up because I scaled the head up by 10, so let's and that's pretty good, but I can see what happening is that what I wasn't noticing before is that the iris itself, the cornea, is much larger than it needs to be. It's not too bad, but now there's crazy eyes, and I'm just going to save that. And I'm just going to select everything and just say update in my lower right, connected to Mudbox. There we go. And in our object list I have my left outer eye, left inner eye, right outer eye, and right inner eye. What I'd like to do is turn the outer eye off. I have a display here. I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to lock the geometry. That's what these symbols here. So we have display and we have lock. So on the first vertical column is display, second vertical column is locking that layer. So let me just turn them off. I'm going to lock all the eyes, and by locking it, it means I can't sculpt or paint on these objects, which is perfect. And one last thing is I would like to have an image plane in here. If I go scroll up under my object list, and as I mentioned before, it's just like the outliner window in Maya, it's the Mudbox camera. And what I would like to do is kind of open that, or click on that plus sign to open up this image plane option. And when I click on that image plane underneath that perspective camera, I have an image I can import. So let's import that image, which is my front view. If I go ahead and go look through, now I'm looking through that perspective camera, where before I was looking through, I think, the front view, and I can see that image plane. So I can select that image plane, take that depth back to a region where it's going to be behind my object, and I'm going to move it and scale it down. So I have this transformation option down here that I can open up, take that scale down to like 0.4, and I'm going to move it negative 1. Maybe not so much, negative 1.25, and move it up in Y. 0.5. That works. So now wherever I move my object, I have my image plane or reference image in the upper right to begin sculpting. And from here on in, we can leave Maya behind and start sculpting and painting. In our next tutorial, I'll deal more with the interface, which we haven't really talked about, of Mudbox, and we'll start sculpting. Thank you.